Hello everyone, I am Lauren Miyazaki from the Enmanji Buddhist Temple here in Sebastopol, welcoming you to our March Shotsuki Hoyo service. Today's service honors family members and friends whose passing is in the month of March. And this is a special time for us to remember them. Today's service will be conducted by our supervising minister, Reverend Dennis Fujimoto from the Buddhist Temple of Alameda. Sensei will now continue with the service with the presentation of Hyobyakumon, the Adoration.
Hyobyakumon. Today, on this occasion of our Shotsuki service, members of the Enmanji Buddhist Temple have reverently come before Amida Buddha in memory of their beloved.
I will continue the service by reading the names of the March Shotsuki Hoyo honorees. Haru Fujihara, Seitaro Hamamoto, Seimon Hamamoto, Toshiro Itano, E. Kamioka, Tomoichi Kawaoka, Yoshitada Masuoka, Tokoyemon Matsuda, Yasuke Miera, Eyako Morita, Frank K. Oda, Ted Sakato, Chiyoji Shimizu, Hisaki Sugimoto, Toshito Sugioka, Fred Tanaka, Saikichi Yoshimura, George Shimizu, George Yutaka Yokoyama, Hatsue Otani, Lloyd Yamasaki, Nanayo Yokoyama, Kiyoshi Akutagawa, Pui King Lao, Shijo Sujihara, Seguru Sueoka, Torotaro Sueoka, Thomas E. Gable, George Shizuru, Mark Hiroshi Furusho, Yasuko Ueda, Jun Hasegawa, Mary Hamamoto, Mitsuo Sujihara, Emiko Moreland, David Sugimoto, Haruko Sujioka, Kyoko Takayama, Toshio Ueda, Betty Meehan, Hiromi Wakayama, and Jimmy Yamakawa. Namo Dabuts, Namo Dabuts, Namo Dabuts, Nam Dab, Nam Dab, Nam Dab. Reverend Fujimoto will continue the service with chanting. For those of you who would like to join in, a PDF copy of the Purple Shin Buddhist Service Book can be accessed from the same site as this service. Today's chanting will begin with Sambujo, found on page number 24, then continue with the first 10 pages of Amida Kyo, that's on page 103 to 113, and that to be followed by Nembutsu Echo, pages 134 and 135.
With deepest reverence and thankfulness for the all-embracing wisdom and compassion of Amida, we reaffirm the three homages. Namo Kie Butsu, Namo Kie Ho, Namo Kie So. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Please repeat the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, 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 Namanda. 知識長老者利法マカモ剣連マカカ書マカカ千年マカクチラリハタシュリアンダガナンダアナンダラゴラキョモンハダイビンズルハラダカルダイマカコヒナハクラヌルダニョゼト初代弟子病床菩薩マカサモンジュシリポジアイタ菩薩天高大菩薩上昇人菩薩四行税と初代菩薩釈大観音と無量大祝日文語長老者利法十世財宝果樹万六分道無世界妙安極楽合道無分合阿弥陀根源在説法者利法移動が光明意極楽合国修上無宿単住昇楽光明極楽地方極楽国道修南樹七十羅網七十五樹海税司法修相異名税公非国妙安極楽者利法極楽国道無執法知薬毒水十万五中地帯順に根社富士四辺街道金言瑠璃あり五条上老各役位金言瑠璃あり社公釈襲名の二言直視地中蓮華大尿車輪小式小公王式陽公釈式釈公白式白公微妙公見者利法極楽国土長寿尿税功徳将軍無者利法非部国土調査天学黄金二次昼夜六時二遊万だらけ 五国修上上位昇誕各位英国上修明家供養他法十万六分即位直時検討本国本直協業舎利法国ら国土上寿尿税空毒将軍物資舎利法非国上中寿奇妙座式市長白国弱オムシャリ下領便が愚名市長聖書州長長や六時水和慶音五音年長五根公力七宝大文那小道文尿税東方合同修上門税音理解出年仏年法戦争舎利法尿物医師長実税祭法少少少医者が非部国土無三幕州舎利法合部国土商務三幕道司名が教実税書州庁改税阿弥陀仏抑量法音川流園芸少佐舎利法非部国土未付水道小法五十牛法ラモ水味妙音非尿百戦中学同時空差音税音社会人年上念仏念法念相死心舎利法合部国土長寿尿税功徳将軍
At this time, we will now hear a Dharma message from Reverend Fujimoto.
Namanda, 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 namanda. Good morning. It's nice to have everyone here, being able to join our Shotsuki service for this month. And I really appreciate everyone making the time and the effort to join us for this service. Today I had another Myokonin story for you, and so I would like to share this with you. This story is about Seikuro. You may recognize the name. Sometimes he's referred to as Seikuro of Yamato. So, he was another very well-known
Myokonin, who had really come to appreciate our Nembutsu teachings. It is said that when he was very young, he was married, but he also indulged in gambling and drinking, and I think his work was very hard and he would never feel rewarded from his work, and he was always poor, and so he spent a lot of his hours, his time, other than working, drinking and gambling and carrying on in that manner. And so his wife had to work very hard also to keep up the home and things like this. And so she was overworked and became ill, and he didn't even have the money to buy her the proper medicines that she needed. And so at her deathbed, she pulled Seikuro close to her and said, please, stop the drinking and gambling, and you need to take care of our daughter. Somebody needs to take care of her. And Seikuro was crying and regretting how he had behaved before, and thinking to change his ways and to look after the family without his wife's company and her assistance, and just to be a little more responsible than he had been carrying himself. So this is how he started to come to listen to the Nembutsu teachings. When he would go to the temple, he would listen a little bit more carefully, and then he started to go even more regularly to the temple and kind of changing his ways. So one day after he had gone to the temple for a visit, he went home and he noticed that he had saved some money and stashed it, under his mattress, and that money was gone. So he told his friend that he had saved this money and now it's missing. And he told him, at least I had some money for the robber to take. And so his friend, how can you be happy when you just got robbed? And so Seikuro said, that he had felt before this temptation to steal as well. And after he had listened to the Dharma, at least he can see now that he's fortunate that he was a person who was able to be robbed. At least he has conditions that he had things that someone could rob, rather than being someone who needed to steal from someone else. And so these are kind of reflections of how Seikuro, his view of himself and his conditions, matured through the Dharma to change his ways and to see things in a different perspective. Reverend Kono, who in past generation had worked at the Midwest Buddhist Temple in Chicago, he also wrote about being able to truly hear the Dharma. So Monpo is how it is described. This is our practice, to listen to the Dharma, but not only to listen, but to listen very deeply, to listen so deeply that it reflects, it appears in our actions. So he was talking about his own temple, and he would prepare for the Sunday service each week, and every week before service, early, one of the Issei members would come to the temple and wipe down the chairs, wipe down all the chairs, and do this regularly and diligently. And so she wanted to be sure that the others, the women in particular, who came to the service and dressed nicely, wearing their very nice dresses to the temple, and she didn't want those dresses to get soiled when they came to the temple. So every week she would come, wipe down every single chair that was in the hondo. And after a while, her own health was declining, and so she was no longer able to come to the temple to do these things. And a little bit of time passed, and a Nisei woman began to come and to do the same thing, to wipe down the chairs just as the other woman had been doing. So she began to come regularly and wiping down all the chairs, all the seating before each service. And Sensei would watch her doing this thing and without anyone else knowing, without wanting anyone else to know that she would do these things, and he would marvel at her dedication. So just as Seikuro had come to listen to the Dharma and then to become considered as one of our myokonin in our tradition, I think there are others who also do this monpo, to listen deeply to the Dharma. And Kono Sensei, in describing these two women who had helped at his temple, he referred to their efforts as the sacred Dharma talks in which no words were used. So just through their actions, you see the truths of the Dharma. They come in silence, wiping down all the chairs, thinking of others, doing these things for the sake of others without wanting or needing any kind of recognition, very quietly doing these things and to make the temple a more inviting place, more comfortable place, a setting where everyone could be able to listen to the Dharma. And there are times when we can see reflections of the Dharma right around us at all of our temples. Please continue to listen deeply. So thank you for joining me for this message today and for coming to appreciate our Shotsuki service this month. Please join me in Kansho and we'll conclude this Dharma message. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. So again, thank you for being here. I'd like to thank everyone who helps to prepare for our services each week. There are many people involved who prepare the Onaijin setting to have our flowers and osonaya prepared, the obopan readied, and everything is cleaned and looks ready for service each week. Chairpersons preparing to that portion of our services, and then there are others who are preparing the video that come to us, sending the links and preparing all of these things. A whole team of people are hard at work behind the scenes to get these services to us, and we appreciate everyone's efforts. So let us conclude this service today, and we can conclude. I'll light the incense here, and you can do as you have prepared at your homes to come up and oshoko here and there. So with this, we will conclude this service. Please join me in Kansho one last time. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, 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 Namanda. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you.
This concludes our March Shotsuki Hoyo Memorial Service. We'd like to thank Reverend Fujimoto for starting the service with the ringing of the Kansho, and also thank Sensei for his Dharma message. We'd like to thank the March Toban for the flowers and offerings. Thank you to Darryl Yagi for setting up the Onaijin, and thank you to Kevin Iwamura for the videography and the editing of today's service. If you would like to make a donation to the Enmanji Buddhist Temple, you are welcome to do so through the Enmanji website. We appreciate that consideration. We would like to thank all of you for watching us today. We hope to see you again soon. Thank you very much. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu.